In a secret government lab in Korea, scientists are putting dogs through a series of terrible experiments, hoping to turn them into furry little soldiers for war. This program is known as Project Silence, and let's just say, it's not exactly a puppy play date. Meanwhile, at the Department of Security, Secretary Young hands Deputy Director Cha some extra cash as a thank you for his support during the campaign. Later at home, Cha watches his daughter Kyungmin pack for her big trip abroad. She's even packing her late mom's book, and Cha scolds her, complaining about unnecessary weight. Kyungmin gets upset and reminds him it's the last existing copy before storming off to her room, and she is like, fine then, I'll just take my emotional baggage instead. In the evening, Cha takes Kyungmin to the airport. They stop at a gas station, and after filling the tank, Cha tries to pay with his card, but Joe, the clerk, tells him the reader isn't working and asks for cash. Cha notices Joe has a master key and accuses him of being a tow truck driver pretending to be a clerk. Joe plays innocent, and Cha leaves without paying, saying he'll bring the cash to the owner later. At the airport, sisters Miran and Yura are in a pickle because Yura forgot to renew her passport. How do you forget something like that? Yura blames Miran because she's her manager, meaning she'll miss her golf tournament. Just then, they're approached by Sunak, who confuses Yura for her cousin. Her husband, Buying Hack, comes after her, and Sunak gets startled, trying to cross the street and almost getting hit by a car. Minutes later, all these groups make it to the bridge outside the city, which is covered in heavy fog. Most drivers are trying to move carefully, but there's a guy in a yellow car driving like he's in a video game, recording it for social media. Because nothing says, I'm a responsible driver, like live streaming your near-death experience. There's also a mysterious car with a cage driving a bit recklessly, and Cha has to swerve to dodge it. As the car passes, Kyungmin sees a sad depressed dog in the window. Even the dogs are having a rough day. In another car, Dr. Yang is being transported to a lab by a couple of soldiers. The yellow car speeds up even more and almost crashes into another vehicle, causing the driver to slam on the brakes. The car ends up blocking part of the road, forcing Buying Hack and Sunak's bus to stop just in time. Well, now this is turning into a real-life game of Frogger. But the other drivers aren't so lucky. A car crashes into the yellow one, triggering a chain reaction that involves almost every vehicle on the bridge. It's like bumper cars, but with real consequences. Drivers try to dodge or stop, but chaos reigns, and some have to abandon their cars before they get squished. A huge truck comes next, tries to dodge the bus, and ends up tipping over, pushing the other cars together. Now that's what I call a traffic jam. People panic and run out of the pileup just before the truck stops. Soon, a police car appears on the opposite lane, only to crash into a crane. Back at the gas station, Joe is being scolded by the station owner for losing money, and he's like, you had one job, Joe. Then they hear on the radio about the bridge pileup, and Joe deduces that Cha must be stuck there, so he hops in his truck with his dog, Jody, to look for him. On the bridge, Cha and Kyungmin are still moving on the opposite lane, watching the chaos unfold. The cage car drives ahead safely, but Yang's car gets a tire stuck on some debris and loses control, crashing and flipping. A tire flies out and hits Cha's car, making it crash against the fence while another vehicle with soldiers collides with the flipped truck, but the cage car stops just in time. The driver checks the cage to make sure its contents are fine. Kyungmin thinks they should be helping people, but Cha tells her to stay in the car while he investigates. The soldiers have already rescued Yang, who keeps mentioning some dogs. While Cha stays with him, the soldiers run to check on the cage, only to find it open and empty except for the driver's body in the back. The captain immediately orders to jam all cell signals on the bridge. Back with Cha, he takes Yang to his car as he tries using his phone to call for help, but he loses signal, and so does everyone else. He also notices Kyungmin is gone. The girl is currently following a weird noise and discovers a big dog named E9 hitting her head against the fence just like any average depressed dude. Kyungmin tries offering her food to calm her down, but just then, Cha arrives to protect his daughter, and E9 runs away. The soldiers tell Yang that the dogs escaped, so they must activate the control program. Yang activates a software on his laptop as the soldiers inform him a helicopter is coming, which Cha overhears. He thinks nobody should be flying in the fog and explains he works for the Department of Security, but the soldiers just tell him to stay out of it. Cha protests and tries to steal a radio, so the soldiers handcuff him to the steering wheel. At that moment, Joe arrives in his truck and sees the cop from before trying to direct traffic away. Joe takes the opportunity to make some money by agreeing to tow the officer's car first. In the car, Yang finishes activating the program, which shows a lineup of dogs, and the soldiers put on extra protection as the dogs suddenly run back. They all have a chip in their heads that Yang's program controls, making them violent. The beasts are incredibly fast and soon they're jumping on the soldiers, who use stun batons to try to shock them into submission. Yang notices E9 isn't moving, not knowing why, but after lots of fighting and hitting the dogs with their helmets, The soldiers jump inside the cage to make the dogs follow them, effectively trapping them inside. As Yang turns the program off to calm the dogs down, an aircraft arrives and a bunch of soldiers land on the bridge. Jody sees this and runs after them, so Joe goes after her too. Cha demands an explanation, but Yang just tells him to ask his boss about Project Silence before running to join the soldiers. The dogs are moved into a new cage while Yang manages the program, although he gets distracted by Jody barking. Joe tries to reach her, only to be pushed back by the soldiers. Suddenly, Kyungmin comes to pick Jody up, and a soldier tries to stop her, but Cha comes to her defense. At that moment, a soldier finds a chip on the ground and realizes E9 hit her head to remove it. The aircraft starts lifting the cage with the dogs, and the man aboard is shocked to see E9 on top of it. She immediately attacks the soldier and causes the towing machine to lose control, dropping the cage on the ground. The co-pilot tries shooting her, but E9 is too fast and immediately kills him before attacking the pilot too. As the aircraft hits the bridge suspenders, E9 jumps out right before it crashes. As it catches on fire, the aircraft spins a few times and gets caught on the suspenders, causing a pitching noise that is driving the dogs crazy. Eventually, they finally snap and open the cage to come out. The furious dogs destroy the cars and jump on any person they can find, killing without mercy. Soon, the crowd is panicking and running away as more and more bodies drop dead. A dog tries attacking Yang, so he throws his laptop at it as a distraction. It reacts quickly and bites his pants to drag him through the fence, but Cha grabs Yang and pulls him out of its mouth. A soldier appears and starts electrocuting the beast, only for a second dog to jump and kill him instant. There's another beast coming, so Cha runs away with Kyungmin, Joe, and Jody. Yura can't reach Miran, who is stuck among the running crowd. A dog is coming after her, so Yura grabs a golf club and hits it before running away with her sister. Joe tries to get in his truck and finds a dog there, so he starts running too. Yang finds a working car, so Cha and Kyungmin get in with him, driving away after a bit of struggle with some debris. Cha doesn't want to stop to pick up Joe and Jody, but his daughter forces him to. Joe and Jody get in the trunk right before the dog could reach them. While other survivors rush to hide inside the bus, Cha's group moves ahead and watches how the aircraft stuck on the bridge finally explodes. Pieces start to fall and land in the middle of the bridge, causing flames to spread on the gas leaked by the truck and block the exit. The fire makes another car explode too, and more debris flies off, breaking the window on Cha's car. He loses control of the vehicle and starts turning to avoid the flames, but they still crash against the fence. Meanwhile, Jung is trying to send help, but helicopters can't fly to the fog, and the bridge is too high for ships to reach it. However, he tells the reporters they're using all their resources for a proper rescue. Back to Cha, he takes Yang's radio and tries asking for help, but he gets no replies as another dog jumps on the car. The creature sniffs at the glass for a few seconds but gets bored and leaves. Then Yang explains he developed rescue dogs that respond to human voices, but the military made him reprogram them for hunting. This was a commission from the US and European countries, who wanted killer canines that could find and kill terrorists. They're trained to recognize their target's voice, but the project didn't go well, and the dogs became too violent. They were on the bridge because the military was trying to dispose of the failed samples. After another try, Cha manages to use the radio to contact Jung, who tells them to move back to the middle of the bridge because the flames from the truck had toxic gas. Cha tells Jung about Project Silence and how it involves the current minister, saying he has enough evidence to bring him down. However, Jung informs him that the project also involves their own department. At that moment, a few dogs surround the car, but another explosion happens, and the flames get even bigger, scaring the dogs away and causing smoke to get in the car. Luckily, the bus comes over to help, so the group covers their faces and runs to join the other survivors. The bridge is starting to go down, so the bus immediately pulls back as the aircraft finally falls, causing the biggest explosion yet. The fire and shockwave break the suspenders, causing the middle of the bridge to collapse like a bad game of Jenga. A bunch of cars plummet into the sea, but fortunately, the bus escapes just in time. Nearby, E9 has gathered her pack, ready to unleash some canine chaos. Once things calm down, Cha introduces himself and explains to the survivors that the authorities are delayed because of the fog. He also spins a few tall tales, claiming the phones are down because of the explosion and that the dogs are part of the army's canine unit going through a bad case of rabies. People are skeptical, but Joe backs Cha's argument, and everyone buys it. Joe then finds an abandoned alcohol bottle and steals it, because who doesn't need a drink in a crisis? He pulls Cha aside for a private chat, and Cha surprises him by offering a juicy reward and a medal if he keeps his mouth shut. Minutes later, a SWAT team descends on the bridge and heads directly to the bus to evacuate, claiming they haven't seen the dogs. Cha contacts Jung about the potential danger, but Jung insists the soldiers will protect them. As the group starts crossing the bridge, they notice all the bodies on the ground. Suddenly, Yang sees a dog running among the cars and steps back, accidentally activating a car's alarm. To their shock, more alarms start wailing around them, and the soldiers move ahead to investigate, only to be ambushed by the dogs who had been triggering the alarms on purpose. The beasts are so clever that when they attack the soldiers, they go for the guns first, causing them to fire at random and injuring some people in the process. Miran gets shot in the leg, and Yura rushes to shield her with an object. While the soldiers are taken down one by one, Sunak loses her grip on reality and tries to pet a dog, who promptly throws her to the ground. Cha is also jumped by a creature and holds it back while noticing Joe hiding under a car. Jody starts barking and gets the dog's attention, so Joe bolts with her while Cha rushes to help his daughter. Kyungmin is pulling at her bag to get it back from a dog, and Cha wants her to drop it, but she refuses because she wants her mom's book. Cha forces her to let go and drags her back, but when the dog tries to follow them, a soldier shoots it. But then, another creature kills that soldier too, poor dude. Afterward, Cha and Kyungmin run back to the bus, hiding in the luggage compartment. Unfortunately, Cha realizes his radio fell, so he comes out again. He quickly snatches the radio and takes the chance to grab his daughter's bag and a flare gun. While waiting, Kyungmin watches a video of her mother reading the book to her in the hospital and misses her dad's smile. She's interrupted by Yang, who opens a hatch that takes them into the main part of the bus. Then Yang explains that E9 is the original dog, all the others are her clones. So, she's like the dog version of a mad scientist. She sees them as her children, and during the experiments, she had to watch how the humans kept killing her puppies. That's a real rough story, man. So, what she's doing now isn't hunting, it's revenge. Vengeance is a dish best served cold, and with a side of dog treats. Meanwhile, Cha finds the remaining survivors hiding together inside a fallen truck. Only Joe, Jody, the sisters, and an elderly couple are left. Joe admits he's told them the truth about the dogs, and Sunak is heavily bleeding. Cha lights some torches with a flare and shoots one into the sky before calling Young, who sees the flames on the security cameras. Cha explains the group will try to leave on the bus and asks for snipers to shoot at the dogs, but Young refuses because reporters will record it. He's like, "Can't have the press ruining our dogfighting image." He promises there's a SWAT team waiting at the bridge break. When the group reaches the bus, Kyungmin tries opening the door, but Yang stops her because he's afraid the dogs will come in. The dogs are currently surrounding the bus, so the survivors try to scare them off with the flames. However, one dog still manages to reach Sunak and bites her stomach. Byung-hak uses his torch to burn the dog and make it back off, but the dog gets her foot instead. The torches are starting to die down, so Joe drinks the alcohol from earlier and spits it at the fire, creating huge flames that effectively keep the dogs at bay. Cha takes out the flare gun and almost shoots Yang, but instead, he shoots the flare at the ground. The resulting flash of light blinds everyone, and Yang lets go of Kyungmin, who finally opens the bus door. The survivors rush into the bus, and Joe kicks Yang for not helping. They notice the bus has no keys, so they use Joe's master key to make it work. Meanwhile, Young cancels all conversations with the press and is losing support for his presidential candidacy. He gets a message from the minister saying he gets to choose whether to save the survivors or not. The bus reaches the bridge break, and Cha tries contacting the SWAT team through the radio, but nobody answers. The group argues over what to do because the dogs are out there waiting, and Kyungmin comes up with a plan. They hide in the luggage compartment with a camera and wait for dogs, but in the mean process Sunak unfortunately dies. Soon, the dogs enter the bus, and the group pulls a thread to close the door, leaving them trapped. The survivors immediately start coming out, but Byung-hak refuses to leave his wife. As Cha tries to argue with him, the dogs find the hatch and try to open it, so Byung-hak tells Cha to go while he stays to keep the hatch closed. The dogs manage to bite Byung-hak's arm, and Cha starts pulling at him, but Joe comes to drag him away, and Byung-hak closes the luggage compartment right before the dogs come down to kill him. Cha wants to run back to save him, but Joe has to remind him it's too late. Afterward, the group searches for the SWAT team, but there's nobody around. When Yang learns who Cha has been talking to, he laughs and explains that Young started the Silence Project, which got him his current position. A furious Cha calls Young and insults him for his lies, saying the survivors will escape and he wants medics plus the press waiting for them or he'll make Young regret it. The group wants to use Joe's truck to escape through the toxic gas, but the keys are back in the bus. Yang looks for his laptop, and they make a plan to lure the dogs into the cage. Cha will act as bait, and before he gets into the cage, Kyungmin tells him she doesn't want to study abroad and gives him her mom's book. Yura gets her golf clubs ready and admits to Miran that she knew her passport had expired, but she didn't say anything because she was too afraid to play in the tournament. Next, Yang activates the transmission of Cha's voice reading the book. As the dogs start going crazy, Yura begins hitting golf balls, making them hit the bus window over and over until it's weak enough for the dogs to jump through. The beasts immediately reach the cage and start shaking it to get to Cha. While Joe uses this chance to get his keys back from the bus, only to discover E9 is still there because she doesn't have a chip. A terrified Joe runs to his truck where the others are waiting, and E9 follows him and attacks Yang as soon as she sees him. Yang picks up a stun baton from the ground and starts shocking E9, who suddenly pulls back when the ground starts shaking. Another section of the bridge is collapsing, causing the cage and the dogs to fall with the other cars. E9 runs to help her pack, but the vehicles bring them down as they slide and fall into the sea. The last dog is caught under some debris, and E9 tries her best to help, but the cage also slides down but gets stuck on the bridge at the last second. At that moment, Joe and the others arrive with the truck, but Cha tells them to stay back because the truck's weight will make it worse. While waiting for the end, Cha reads the note his wife wrote for her family at the end of the book. Then he sees Kyungmin coming closer with the towing hook, so he opens the door to tell her to stay back because the dogs are nearby. However, E9 won't attack Kyungmin because she was nice to her. The bridge continues to collapsing, and the other dog falls, so E9 jumps after it and falls as well. The cage slides down a little more, and Cha holds on as much as he can. Suddenly, Kyungmin appears on top of the cage and connects the hook before climbing inside with him. Afterward, Joe and the others get on the truck and drive off, dragging the cage behind them. The bridge keeps collapsing, so the truck speeds up, and everyone covers their faces as they go through the toxic gas. Joe has to dodge a bunch of flames along the way, causing the cage to bump against lots of debris. There's another part of the bridge breaking here, and Joe has to pull a crazy move to dodge it too, which disconnects the cage in the process. When they finally make it to the safe area, the survivors think Cha and Kyungmin are dead, but the cage suddenly shows up because its wheels are rolling thanks to gained momentum. Once Cha and Kyungmin join the others in the truck, Cha promises Joe he'll get him that medal because he earned it. The truck keeps driving, and they make it to the end of the bridge, where the authorities and the reporters are waiting. Young offers them a warm welcome, only for Cha to punch him. Then he throws the money on the ground before telling the reporters the entire truth. Both Cha and Young offer all their recordings as proof of the experiments. Cha announces Kyungmin doesn't have to go abroad, and they share a happy smile. Meanwhile, on the shore, E9 comes out of the water, bringing her last living clone, and then she looks at the bridge, planning her revenge again. This movie's name is Project Silence, which has got 5.6 rating on IMDb. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you truly enjoyed it, please hit the like, and for more, hit the subscribe. I'm sure we'll meet again in next video.